Hello guys, it's your girl Phoenix Novell back again, and thank you for tuning into my video. This is from the Musicians on Gigs series, and it's Artist Spotlight time. So this video today is called the top 5 tips for traveling musicians. Okay, everybody has their opinion of what artists need as they're traveling around, and maybe you may not necessarily agree with my top 5, but I'm sharing with you some of the things that has helped me get by, being as though I've been overseas for over a decade now, performing, traveling the world, visiting different countries, engulfing myself in different cultures. And these are the top 5 things I found to be the most helpful, in this thing called gigging the globe. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number one, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow artists, save your money. Save your money, because it is so very easy for us creative types to get so lost in this world. A lot of us are so happy. We're so happy to be getting paid to travel the world and perform and share our talents with everybody that, sometimes we can take it for granted, because let's face it, a lot of us, we're born with this ability to sing, or we have this affinity for music and we can play, and we're much more fluent, or it comes more naturally to us than a lot of people who spend a lot of time and years going over and practicing and paying so much money to be able to just sing, in neighborhood jam sessions. But traveling and getting paid to do it, there's a lot of, it's easier for us to be like, I got it made, I'm an artist, I'm a star. So you get pulled into that lifestyle of kind of like living like a star, like that money will never stop, like the money tree would never dry up. So you have to look at it like it's a job sometimes, even though it's so hard too. You got to remember that somebody is paying you for a service. And if something happens where you can't perform that service to the best of your ability, there's a potential or a possibility for you to lose that job. And if that happens and you don't have a degree or any other skills that could make up for that and kind of maintain that lifestyle of artistry that you've been so used to and conditioned yourself for, it could be a hard fall. I've been there myself on a few occasions where, you're bouncing around all over the world. People are paying for you, 5-star hotels, top quality food, flights, tickets, clothes, shoes, all of this stuff, that you are just so used to. It's so easy for you to believe that could never stop. There was a time where I lost my voice completely, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't afford to stop when I needed to rest. So don't be like me. Give yourself a budget every month. This is how much I can spend. This is how much I need to save. Because sometimes things happen, like, maybe there's a virus in the country that you're working in, and the gigs stop. You got to go home. You got to be shipped out. All foreigners must go, kind of thing. Or you get sick, or you lose your voice, or your hands cramp up and you can't play, whatever. Like, or your leg, you break something. There's so many things that could happen. So you don't want to ever put yourself in a situation where you're desperate and you have to work when your body really needs to rest. That's number 1. Number 2, have a personal source of strength. Somebody that's going to be there for you, that you can call, that you can talk to when something happens, when you're going through stress, when you're not really getting along with your band, when something happened and you feel like, there's favoritism going on, or you feel like just stressed out from the gig. You're not really feeling at your optimum, and you're having confidence issues, or you had a loss. There's something going on where you really don't feel like, I really don't want to do this gig. I really don't want to be here. I just want to curl up into a ball. What has helped me is having somebody that I could talk to whenever I'm in those places. And it's usually not an artist that I'm on stage with. It's usually somebody who maybe a family member, or somebody who I met a long time ago, maybe in a different business or whatever, who I know they can remain unbiased and they really genuinely care about me. You need somebody who has your back that way, so that they're not afraid to tell you when you tripping, but they're also not involved in a situation where as though there's a possibility that they could be trying to appease you or just stroke you to conform to whatever situation you don't really think is fair. So somebody who can kind of help you maintain your cool when you would quit otherwise, or probably sabotage good relationships because you're too in your feelings about something. Okay, so that's number 2. Have a personal source of strength, somebody who you can rely on to kind of keep you in the place that you need to be to get this thing done, and reach your goals. The third thing I would say, the third tip is to make more friends than enemies. It's real easy as artists to be emotional, to be, it's not an excuse. You should be able to control your emotions no matter what. You should be able to not be so sensitive that anytime somebody does something or says something that you don't like, you're ready to just pounce. It's no excuse that you're an artist, but it's much easier for us because we're already in this kind of playful environment. It's usually not so stressful or tense. People come to see bands and they come to clubs and they come to watch entertainment because their jobs are so stressful and so tense. So we can't have that kind of feeling and energy in a place where people are coming to release their energy, their pent-up aggression and energy, But the thing about making more friends is that you need to understand the importance of relationships and how, no matter how great you are at what you do, people will ask about you. They'll ask about your reputation, and the first thing they usually say is, what did you think about this person? And they're not usually talking about your talent, because there are a lot of artists out there who people would say are not as talented as others, but they're easy to work with. They're likable. They're the kind of people who don't really make no waves. They're not necessarily docile or passive, but they don't make the kind of drama that's not necessarily, they don't cause any problems or cause any friction just because things could be, there should be some tension and rile up. Some people are not going to always like you. You can't make everybody like you. So I'm not trying to tell you to change who you are to the point that you sell yourself to everybody. But I am saying that when there doesn't need to be any drama, don't just start something for the sake of it. Do your job. And if you run into or encounter somebody who's difficult, step back. Before you need to try to assert yourself. If you need to defend yourself, then you do it in a way where they don't have an audience to feel like, oh, you're trying to one up me or whatever. Do it professionally with your superior around you, or figure out a way to diffuse the tension before you actually fuel the fire, because you'll miss out on a lot of great gigs just because somebody who you don't like has a connect there, and they said that you were this way or you were this way or hard to work with or insubordinate or all kinds of things. So you'd be surprised. You don't have to be friends with everybody, but make more acquaintances than you make people who don't really want to work with you, because sometimes you could be in a situation where you need that job, and the first thing they're thinking is, well, you might not be the best dancer or the best singer or the best instrumentalist or whatever, but you know what? I did like working with you. They were fun. They have fun. They were good team players, and they interacted with the audience. So it's a lot more than just you being up there and being great at what you do. People gotta like you. So remember the importance of creating good relationships, because you may need them on this thing, as you travel the globe. Number 4, invest in a great source of high quality vitamins. Yes, I'm that girl. Anybody who's ever worked with me knows that I'm serious about my herbs and my vitamins. And it's really important. I myself was diagnosed with lupus when I was around 21 years old, even before I came overseas to perform. And so I really started getting into health and understanding the body and the cells and the importance of, knowing for yourself how the body works. What happens when you're deficient in this certain vitamin? What happens when you don't get enough water? What happens when the sleep cycle isn't right? What happens when you don't get enough vitamin D, or you're working in a gig and you sleep all day so you don't get any sunlight, and then you're gigging all night in a room where people are smoking, or there's no ventilation, or it's too cold, or whatever. And it is so important for you to know what's going on with your body before it's too late. So many people are on over-the-counter medications. So many people are in situations where they have to take, they have to take drugs for the rest of their life because they didn't understand how they could have controlled something before it got to the point that it was out of control and needed other ways of management. So myself, I found this amazing holistic doctor named Dr. Morse. I found his videos on YouTube. I'll list the link below for you guys so that you can check them out too. But I mean, amazing, and I'm so blessed because this guy promotes health and wellness, and there's an education that's attached to the information about his products. And this one is called his company is called Cellular Botanicals, and this is Superfood Blend 1. They have different levels of potency, but the cool thing about it is that in this bottle right here, you get organic royal jelly, wheatgrass juice powder, alfalfa leaf juice powder, chickweed, chia seed, beetroot, lemon peel, ginkgo leaf, dandelion leaf, flaxseed, cinnamon, powdered yarrow bark, astragalus root, milk thistle, all of these things that so many of us don't even know what they do. But oh my gosh, I can make a whole video about Dr. Morse and his products. But this is what I've been traveling with over the last few years. When I found it, I was like, I tell every artist about it. I also buy another one of his products called Heal All Tea. And instead of me drinking tea that's really heavily caffeinated, like a English breakfast tea, or those strong Moroccan teas if you find yourself in the UAE, those are really high in caffeine, and if you're drinking them on a regular basis, caffeine affects your iron levels, caffeine affects your vitamin C, caffeine depletes a lot of other nutrients in the body. So you have to be really careful and understand how all these things are connected, and make sure that you are getting what you need just to sufficiently be able to live this lifestyle of performing. Some artists, they're smoking a lot or they're drinking a lot, and they're even further, the alcohol is killing the good cells in their body, or they're smoking and they're killing the good cells in their body. So this is something that all performing artists who are traveling to different countries where you may not be able to get high quality organic fruits and vegetables everywhere you go, where you may not be able to drink the water, they may have pollution issues. This helps you. And this particular bottle, I believe, cost me maybe $35 to $40 the last time I bought this, and you're paying for shipping and stuff like that. This particular company doesn't ship overseas, so depending on where you are, shipping costs will vary. But once again, a good quality source of vitamins, all natural, organic, that you can take on a regular basis so that your health and wellness doesn't depend on the location of your gig. And the fifth and final tip for traveling musicians is don't be a slave, be the master. Now, I mean this in so many different ways, but the first thing that comes to mind and that I want you to think about when I say don't be the slave, be the master is your health and your wellness on the road. I know I said have a great source of vitamins. You only need one, multivitamin that's organic. That's why I recommend Dr. Morse. But so many artists, they become alcoholics, or they start chain smoking, or they start staying up all night and their sleep patterns is really affected, or they're rehearsing so much that they're not really enjoying the gig. They allow the environment to determine their level of quality, their life quality, their health quality, their mind quality. It determines how well they are. And I've seen so many of them become depressed or become so stressed because they're afraid to lose their gig, or they're listening to what their boss is saying about, oh, no customers are here, or nobody's coming to see the show, you're not good enough, or the band leader is negatively reinforcing them, so they're trying to do more and basically they're being put into a situation where they feel like if they don't do more than they're really contracted to do, then they're not really as valuable as another person could be. So in that instance, you're being a slave to somebody else and what they want. When you got the gig because of your talent, and because of your ability to perform, and however your personality mesh with the group, don't allow anything else to change the way you see yourself. Don't allow somebody saying, oh, you need to get more people in here. If that's not if your job is promotions and PR, that's not your job. Your job is to learn your songs, learn the show, perform, look good, have fun, entertain, and then that's it. But so many of us, we are in the like me business. You know, we're in this age of social media where the more likes I get, the more likable I am, the more valuable I am, and that is not the case. You know, don't allow the venue, you know, and where it is in the world, and whether or not you have a gym, whether or not you have great fruits and vegetables, whether or not you know, whatever your sleep schedule is, whether or not they want you to drink with the audience, don't allow that to determine healthy habits that you should have for yourself. And don't make excuses for, oh, I can't do this because, you know, this venue doesn't have a gym, or this venue doesn't do this, or I can't exercise because we're not allowed to use. You can get on your own hands and knees at home and do push-ups. Okay, you can do jumping jacks. You can find some resistance kind of exercises to do at home. You can meditate. You can make sure you drink water. You can run around a damn building. There is outside everywhere you go, okay? So don't fall victim like that. It's so easy to, especially when, you know, the gig is paying kind of good or whatever, and you might not have many other options, and you feel like, well, you know, I want them to like me, so I want them to keep extending my contract, and so you feel like you got to work harder or do more, or they kind of hint or give you the idea or manipulate you into feeling like you should come to them with all of these reasons why you're so valuable to their team. And the truth is, your value was already set in stone when they hired you. You got the job. Stop acting like you're in audition mode during the contract. You know, don't be a slave to customers. Don't make them feel like if you don't drink with don't allow them to make you feel like if you don't drink with them or hang with them on your off time or socialize with them for a certain amount of time or take pictures with their group, that you are not doing your job and that you're not the best and that another person is better than you because they have time to do all this and you don't. Listen. Okay, like I'm that kind of artist. Yes, it's a good thing. It's a good quality to have, to make people feel special. It's great to make people feel like, oh, thank you so much for coming out to the show. But when they make you feel like you're nothing if you don't give them the attention and time of day and don't spend time with them or don't take shots when they're shoving them in your face, or if you don't drink like me, or if you do something where other artists are like, come on, and you're like, well, you know what? I usually like to sleep at this time. Or you know what? I don't go out before the show because that's when I meditate, or that's when I, you know, do my yoga or exercise or whatever it is that you do that you like to do in order to prepare you to get ready for the job that you signed on for. Don't allow anybody to come in between you and that. Because once you do, you're a slave to your environment. You're a slave to the gig. You're a slave to all of these elements when in fact those elements were not in place and they didn't matter when you signed the contract and took the gig. Okay, so once again, it's your girl Phoenix Novell. I hope these videos help other artists out there. I hope these videos are useful to you, because these, even though we're making money and we're performing and we have to save and we have to, you know, create a nest egg, and we also want to perform and share our gifts with the world, it's still a job. You know, it's still a gig. It's still work, and you're still living. The moments are passing. As you're making plans with that money, time is passing, your life is passing, and every moment you're conditioning yourself. I got this saying right here. Every moment, every second, every breath, every opportunity, every action is either an upgrade or a downgrade. And the collection of all the things that you do determines your character. You know, and just because if you're too malleable to every situation, eventually who you are changes. You know, you may not be recognizable to yourself some more. So be proud of yourself. Be confident. You know, and the more prepared you are to do your job effectively, the more you're in tune with who you are and where you want to be and where you want to go, the quieter you will set the volume of the outside world. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Once again, thanks for you guys to tune into my Musicians on Gigs Artist Spotlight series, and I hope this video helps. Peace.